Hi, I'm Nigel the Shanghai Psychic. I can tune into your loved ones in the spirit world, but I can also tune into you, tell you about your path and the choices that you need to make and need to know. I'm currently giving 30% discount on all Tell Craig Your Story listeners. Just use the code Tell Craig Your Story for 30% off your first psychic reading with me online at Nigel the Shanghai Psychic.
Hello everyone, Craig here. Welcome to another edition of the podcast, Tell Craig Your Story. Today we'll be speaking to Bob Petrovic. Now Bob was born in Belgrade, Serbia. He created the funk sound in Yugoslavia with his band Zdravo from 1975. He owned the best disco clubs in Yugoslavia. He had his own business in metal and steel. When he moved to Marbella, he bought FC Marbella, and he bought the famous yacht, which had some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry. Sean Connery, Mick Jagger, Prince, David Beckham. He created a company called Free Kick Master. He's written 2 novels, and the first novel sold over 100,000 copies. And he's also been the producer of his wife, Jela Cello, and has put together the music for Jela Cello's music carousel. But before we go, please go to our website. We're at Podbean. Tell Craig Your Story at podbean.com. We have a YouTube channel there. Make sure you're subscribing to get all the latest updates and give us a like as well. You can find us at Tell Craig Your Story. And we have VK for our Russian listeners and WeChat for our Chinese listeners. All right, here we go. This is my chat with Bob Petrovic on Tell Craig Your Story podcast. You were here in Shanghai for a promotional visit. What's been happening since the last time I saw you?
Really, the summer was happening more or less. You know, I swam swimming actually and making some songs. There will be release of one of my albums, and then I prepared 3-4 new songs in addition to like bonus to that album.
Oh, that's amazing.
And, yeah, it was a long time, you know, that I didn't release nothing new. So it was like pretty exciting for the people who are actually releasing this. And for me, a little bit in process of making music again, you know. I was making all the time some kind of music. And with Jela and, you know, inclining towards classical music, and I made now few songs which are more or less, you know, expression of my last 10 years feelings, you know. So I hope it will be good also for listening, you know. So when it's ready, I'll send to you.
And you've still got that funk sound that you made so famous?
There is strong. Yeah, there is this strong. My cousin, young guy, finished with his studies in Berkeley, more or less like a jazz musician. But then last year or so, he tried himself, you know, in this kind of underground pop jazz fusion style. I think, you know, it could be interesting story because there will be my song, like signature, you know, composing and lyrics, but it will be maybe in new fashion, I would say like this, because the guy is really up to date, so let's try, I like to go forward and not to stuck with the past, so if he helped me out from these old shoes, I will be very happy because, I'm not searching for fame another time or for a crowd, to listen to me. It's for my fun, pleasure, and it will be useful for recording company, actually, which will release this. I hope it would be good to build this good combination of my power, this young generation beat, and simplifying a little bit arrangements, not to be, like Quincy Jones, but more like minimalistic, drum and bass, but differently with flavor of jazz, and acid,
That's the thing, Bob. Age, when you're playing music, age is limitless. It doesn't matter what age you are. You can play music and go out and play guitar or play drums or whatever instrument you play.
Yeah, I don't feel really like scrap,
Yes.
I don't, I feel more like, let's try, why not? And it's interesting because I like this new generation beats, and how they perceive the music and how they arrange, now it's really, there is a lot of talent, but they are not really pressurizing the audience, with some genius riffs or strings or, brass.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great to hear that you're still writing music and you're still involved. So when we were talking in Shanghai, I was telling you that I was from Australia and you've met some very famous people in Australia. And one was Michael Hutchison. How did you get a chance to meet Michael?
First of all, to say that he was great guy, like Shablon, but he was really great person, great personality.
Yes.
And we didn't spend a lot of time, together, but the time which we spent mostly in Marbella and where he visited with Paula, at that time pregnant.
Yes.
And this was nice time which we spent together, basically cruising on my yacht, and swimming around and then pop on my jet, and going left and right for a dinner and coming back, going to Ibiza, back. It was a great time, though he was really upset already with whole situation around. Somehow his eyes were sometimes during dinner or somewhere far away,
Right.
Like, he had all these problems, which, I'm not somebody who would be, the one who could judge, why, what, but he was in difficult situation and I think, external reasons were to blame, not his inner, his soul and his mind and a smile when it was on his lips, everything was perfect. I could never imagine that only a little bit later he will commit suicide. It was, I'm not the only one. A lot of people actually were actually doubting, that he was the one who could do this, But at the end of the day, that's the life and death. And so I rather remember him as a great guy, and full of life, especially when he was on stage, Then I was watching some documentaries about him, and really I saw some of his maybe dark side, but this is regular with great artists. They are actually changing from mood to mood, Unfortunately, he's not with us. I'm sure, that there will be lots of his music around us, if he was to stay. Yeah.
Sorry, Bob. I was just gonna say, like, he was in the prime of his career. To be honest, he had a lot of music to come. Just to say
No, definitely regretting losing the time on all these things around him, and not actually being in the studio or performing on concerts. He was missing like this, and he was, I don't know, he was really, even during these few times, 5-10 days, together, he was
somewhere
to my
else.
lawyer visiting some office, consulate of Great Britain or something in Malaga,
Right.
and then coming back very upset, and so on. So, but in any case, whole world should remember him as one of the greatest entertainers.
Yes.
Really incredible personality. I met a zillion of people, but he was really unique. Like some others who I met, but I didn't meet. Even I met thousands of famous and talented people. There were only few. Who I really liked myself.
Yeah, he was an incredible talent, that's for sure. Bob, I want to go back to where you were born. I do believe you were born in Serbia.
Yeah.
So tell us about growing up there. Were your mum and dad involved in music? And what were the first stages of you getting involved with music?
To be honest, I was involved with the life.
Right.
So, yeah, my parents were actually very gifty, singers, only as amateurs. They were involved in sport,
Yes.
and they were professors on University of Physical Education.
Right.
My father was PhD in science of physical education, and he was very often traveling as I was a young kid, around the world, especially to the United States, where he was actually lecturing on colleges and universities, and he was in his business one of the top guys in the world at that time. Why I'm mentioning this, I was used to being around men who was recognized worldwide in this what he was doing.
Yes.
So probably from the early age I was thinking, not only thinking, but I was aware that sky is the limit, because him coming from small country and then lecturing, Stanford University or Yale University. He was, whenever he was traveling, he was bringing me his shirt,
Yes.
with Yale and Stanford and University of Southern California and so on and so. So, in the same time, he was bringing the record. I was probably one of the very, very rare kids in Yugoslavia at the time. And actually now it's Serbia, the part where I was born and where I'm living.
Yes.
Pasti, Belgrade. I came very close to the music which was at that time popular in the United States. Obviously,
Elvis?
was of King himself, Elvis Presley.
Yes.
But, I was also listening as 5-6 years old kid, not only Elvis Presley, but also, for example, Bill Haley and the Comets, Little Richard,
Right.
Fats Domino, and then, and I had all these records, and then some ballads, Ted Boone, like I'll Be Boban, and all this music actually left big mark on my later music career. I mentioned maybe to you in our conversation, as a 5-6 years old kid, I would be playing football in the yard,
Yes.
and then jumping up, and putting the speaker of this old gramophone,
Right.
on the window, and inviting children down there to stop for a moment to play football, and listen to Elvis, to the Elvis music.
What a great offer.
Actually, it was the root of my first, I would say, DJ career, but then also to my music career. So I like to consider myself one of the first DJs in my country. Actually, probably I was 5 years old. We are talking about 56, 57, 1957 actually, and then slowly, because I was playing acoustic guitar, I had one guitar at home.
Yes.
And slowly I was obviously trying, to copy, the songs which I was listening to on the records, even starting to make very early my lyrics. And
Oh, yes.
first song which I wrote was about holiday. Actually, I was in love with a girl. I was like 6.5 years old, 7.
Do you think you could still play that song, Bob?
No, it was on my first single record. Actually.
Right, there you go. Wow.
Later, I decided that B-side of my, at that time, Big Hit, Meteorology was the name of that one, was the title of that one. On the B-side of the single, my first single was this ballad, because I was, as I told you, in love with a girl, and then it came holiday, and obviously she's going with her parents for a holiday, and I'm going with mine, and then I am, like alone in the class, imagining that she's sitting here behind me, already very sad, because I knew that this was the end of our romance.
Oh.
So I really didn't change lyrics and nothing I made at that time. And when it came my first record, I wanted to pay tribute to my childhood, days, and to love, which was a really clean love of 7 years old boy, and it looked interesting for me to put this on the record. But then, as I told you, I continued to play guitar for myself, but in the same time I started to be interested in playing football, and then I was playing really from my age of 7 until my age of 18. I was playing in a famous Red Star football club.
Yes, I heard that you really had a good chance of making it like professionally, right?
Yeah, it was really like very close to successful career, because I actually was playing for youth national team, and usually, the guys who are playing for youth national team and playing in Red Star, they are signing the contract, professional contract at the age of 17, 18. And when I was supposed to sign, it happened that in the interval of 2 months, I had 2 very, very, very dangerous injuries, actually. My left knee first, and then my right knee, and
oh, wow.
It was necessary to go on operation.
Mm.
And I was thinking that it's not necessary waiting to heal. But then when I started to pop off my knee, and slowly this was the end of my dreams to become great football player, which I'm not regretting, because there was music always waiting on me,
Yes.
And it was really equally split the love for football and for music. It was like undecided. So it had to happen something like this with my niece, take full time, This was great, actually, because football is a great game. Through music, I could express myself much more. Not that I'm not regretting, actually, I'm very happy that life chose for me.
Did you have any pressure for you to be like a professor or do really, really good at school?
No, I was good at school. Yeah, I was good at school.
Yes.
All the way to my graduating on University of Organizational Sciences, or as called the business. I didn't have problem with actually education. I loved mathematics and the play chess. I didn't have problem.
Okay.
Also, I really liked to write. I was writing small, beside my poetry, lyrics for my songs. I was writing also some stories, even for some youth magazines during my elementary and high school. But music was always really there, because I passed from guitar to piano. Piano really opened for me completely new world, with all the harmonies, and possibilities. Guitar is great, but piano really made me hear my emotions, rich sound, much more than guitar.
Yeah.
And DJing, as 14, 15 years old, always wishing to pass my optimistic, good feelings, on the visitors of my class. I became owner of my own. Actually, I became owner of the discotheque when I was 19. I started early as a DJ.
I read that. Yeah, you said you had, was it 2 clubs that you had?
I had many clubs.
Many clubs,
really,
right.
I count now. There were really many clubs. Few of them were kind of best ever clubs in my country.
Yes.
And even today, these are like legendary clubs. When people are talking about this star club, actually.
Yes.
Or Majestic.
Oh, sorry, Bob. There's even a quote there saying that it was better than Club 54 in America. That's a big vote of confidence for what you were doing.
But look, being with the music from a very early age, recognizing the power of music and the power of actually passing emotions on the audience. It helped, when I was making my own class, because always I was innovative, and really I came with some things which maybe were invented by me, which is that not one, but many articles in English and USA newspapers. For example, this Newsweek magazine on stage brought a story on 5 pages about Belgrade through actual experience in my club. The journalist, famous one I now forgot, was really shocked when he saw what's happening and which kind of, because at that time Yugoslavia was perceived as a communist country, which was completely wrong picture. Because it was only a communist party as a pretext for something what was Western culture, actually.
Yes.
I think this was trick of at that time leader of Yugoslavia, Tito, who tricked Russians. They had some influence on him. He was growing as a politician in Russia, actually. And he was member of National Communist,
Yeah, right.
organization. But in order not to be killed or something, he invented Communist Party, but we were living life of California. Really?
Right.
No, that was this guy, this journalist, couldn't believe what he saw, The fashion, music, and people, and he was shocked, And so, on the wings of that, shocking recognition, he made this article where he was comparing my club with 54, which probably was a little bit too much, but at the end of the day, I've been in 54 and obviously a zillion times in my club, and I could say this atmosphere, craziness was very often crazier in my club than in 54, which I was regularly visiting during my visit to New York and so. So, I don't want to talk about me as a genius, who created this. It was normal, crazy club with a crazy atmosphere, which was actually only normal to happen, when one had on his mind that I was with the music from my age of 5, like intensively. My parties also, which were famous in the region, and then later around Europe. One of my clubs, for example, in Marbella was Long Legs, Piernas Largas on Spanish, but Long Legs club. And this club was actually hosting incredible superstars, from Kool and The Gang and Chili Bezzi to Imagination, George Yuk. Even, Hutchins was, if he was performing, he was busy performing in my club. So Heatwave, I don't know, many top artists. Spring. At that time, I had my football club in Marbella. I was the owner of Marbella Football Club. So all these big superstars who I was bringing to the club were actually having big gigs on the stadium before football matches of my club.
Oh, right, right.
Yeah. And that was the time when I connected the football and music finally.
Right.
And yeah, it was like, I came home, after 25 years of absence from football or something, as soon as I made big buck, with my business, I actually invested in football club. I bought football club, and then in the same time, I had this incredibly, I would say, exclusive Long Legs club, which me and my neighbor and good friend at that time, Sean Connery, were measuring the leg, of the model. The longest leg were once per month winning the brand new Ferrari.
You did buy FC Marbella. Did you have some successful seasons with that club?
It was a great success at one stage. I spent a lot of money to buy the best players.
Right.
But at one stage, I bought the club from the municipality of Marbella. And of course, the contract conditions, they had to cover all past debts, like the social security, like tax to the state. And when I club and when I invested billions in the best football players who I brought, we started to play incredibly good. Spanish Liga started to warn me that if I don't pay, debt, all debt, and if I don't pay social security for the last 10 years, they would take me out from the league, relegate me in second division, third division. So then it started complaining, and municipality would say we don't have the money. Even they signed, and then court case, and then it became at one stage a nightmare from my deep, love for football and wish to have Marbella, which I succeeded actually with through football club and these concert competitions in long legs. Whole Spain actually was following on daily basis what's happening with me and my venture. So gradually Marbella came from the dead city. At one stage it was like with Monte Carlo top, and then it came in late 80s to house, complete house. So when I came, I had to start to work on reviving of this old glory, and I succeeded actually. So people of Marbella respect this. They love me even today as the savior of Marbella.
Yes. So let's talk about your band then. It says here that it was formed in 1975. Very successful. It was this funk sound in Yugoslavia. Tell us about how this band formed.
Yeah, that was the article recently, not recently, I think last year in Guardian, London Guardian, yeah?
Yes.
Actually, I started as a pioneer with funk R&B music in the middle of all these rock groups era in my country.
Right.
So my group was very specific, and we were playing good funk, my own stuff, my music. I could say, that we were the only other than rock band, my group. The name of my group was Cello. Then later I started to work under my own name. We were touring, through region very successfully. First as a pre-group, like warming artist for the biggest group ever in my country, which was White Button, group. And my very good friend was leader of that group, Boban Petrovic, is one of the biggest worldwide world music superstars. He was inviting me, so we were playing the big gigs in stadiums before them.
Right.
And then slowly we started to play ourselves. At one stage, I was starting to make actually big parties in indoor arenas. As I was really lazy to play every night another city, same town.
Right.
Yeah, I really became bored. I couldn't do it. Incredible when you can do this, and I couldn't play because every place where you come, they want all these hits from the chart, and I had to play again and again like machine, the same. So I invented then that we are playing only 15 minutes, my group, and I call it Hello Party or Boban Petrovic Party, in order not to fool the people, to invite them on my concert and then I'm not playing, But in this way, we play for 10, 15 minutes, and then it started, big party, 6-7 hours, in all around the region, and people support it, It was like big discotheques, for a night. So it was crazy, I had these crazy buses, these Greyhound buses, this metal one, full of long legs of models who will be competing for long legs, around. And then me and my group, and then 3-4 DJs, and at one stage we were even showing pirate movies, incredible. And then we would be inviting people on the stage to play themselves, and really it was very big part, like for many years. It was incredibly successful.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I don't know if I have to compare now. I could compare with Pasha in Ibiza, for example, or
Yes.
somewhere. Yeah, or Nikki's Beach, for example, in Miami or something. Like big party with DJ, which is exactly what is happening last 20 years, on the scene. And I'm talking now about something what was happening 45 years.
Sorry, Bubba, I wanted to ask you, you've been talking about so much about music and writing songs. How do you write a song? Has it changed over time, with the different styles of music that you've played? Is it a riff? Is it your poetry? Is it lyrics? How?
Mood. Everything starts from my mood when I have a question. For example, I feel, blue, and then I sit behind my piano, and start to find the chords which will express my mood. And then slowly, I'm adding to this chord melody, and having in my mind already then at that time some thinking about what could be the theme of that song. So usually I'm making music in a way that my lyrics sound last, but with a very early idea about what I would be having in my lyrics. When I start with this chords, according to my mood, if my mood, as I told you, is blue, then it's some ballad. And if I'm like crazy, then I'm trying to find the chords, and the beat which I have in my head. This is the way how I was making my songs. So all my songs are really my personal expression, very honest expression of my moods and feelings. There is no lie there. I never made song, which was artificially made for people to listen. Actually, I was always making songs for myself, and then if they listen, they listen. If they don't listen, what can I do?
Right. Tell us about this famous yacht. Now, I've watched videos online. I have the list of some of the celebrities that have been on there. Do you still have this yacht? And tell me about how you got this yacht. When did you decide to buy this?
Actually, I never was dreaming to have the yacht, or jets, or palaces around the world. I was trading with metal after my discotheques and my music career, which at one stage, as I told you, I simply couldn't repeat myself, And if you are living out of music, you have definitely to repeat yourself, every once in a while, or actually every night to be honest. If you are successful and if you have chance to play every night. When my daughter was born, I decided, that I will actually try to not to travel, and be absent. It coincided with my fed up mood, with repeating the same song every night. You couldn't disappoint, audience. They came to listen to the songs which they were listening on the chart. So you have to play. And then it was either I'm not going to play, at all, or I don't know what. So I simply stopped with touring, devoted myself to my first daughter. That was the time when I realized that my rock style of living, I could really live with no money or with big money from my discotheques or from my concerts. At some stages there was lots of money, lost. lot of money for my country at that time. And sometimes, when I'm lazy to go to play or to do this or that, there was no money. So I decided that, I would come back now to this, what I was educated for, which was business.
Yes.
Try to make some decent money, not actually selling my soul to the devil through the music. Because I knew that I have to sell my soul and body for the sake of music, in order to have audience which will be welcoming each of my new songs, and then I will be probably earning big buck.
Right.
But it's happening very often. There is one Paul McCartney or Mick Jagger, Keith Richards, or hockey, there are many. But out of zillions, who are in music and expecting that they would be living nicely from, not nicely, but like superstars, there are only few who succeeded really. So for me, it was not so much this fact, as it was that I couldn't make music for audience. I was making music for myself.
Yes.
And I didn't want to change it. So it was time to change occupation. So I went to London and started to trade with the metal. Simple as that. One of my clubs met director who was the director of sector of production of aluminium, and we were talking, and I got the idea that I might grab few deals, which I've done. In London, I connected this production factory of aluminium in Yugoslavia with Belgium Atlas Copco, who was producing compressors. They needed aluminium plates for making this.
Yes.
And this aluminium combinate in Yugoslavia needed stainless steel products, which I took from British Steel, Sheffield. And when I made this around in compensation business, I stayed with about £700,000-800,000 clear profit after 3 months of being in metal business, which was great, to start. And then I started. I've been lucky actually at one stage. That was the time when I moved from London to Cyprus because of the tax.
Right.
I didn't want to make tax evasion and cheating, so I left London, which I like to live a lot. I had great offices there, but simply I formed my offshore company in Cyprus, and I went down there. And from there, I started really to be very successful in metal trading. Also, luck that at that time, Soviet Union opened actually, because perestroika is Gorbachev. This centralized export of steel products was actually dead, because they allowed steel mills, to negotiate themselves the deals. And this was chance for me, I went to Siberia to some of these biggest steel mills in the world. And really buying very cheap steel products, Russia, and selling to Mitsubishi Nishibai, predominantly in Japan. So ships full load of my steel were for 3-4 years regularly cruising towards Japan and Korea, and it was very lucrative. Simply because I buying for very cheaply and then selling under the market price. I dropped very. At that time I was making 3-4 million per year, profit from my trading with steel. But here in this case, I even didn't move my small finger. So I used to say, I got the biggest lottery ever.
Right.
Can you imagine these guys to come to the discotheque? I'm sitting with these two Swedish girls and this young guy in 6 months' time. Then I helped in opening a few more offshore banks.
Right.
And that's how I ended, with money to buy my yacht, jet, and football club. That, I have this, I have that. No, my friend, you have to be in right place, right time,
Yeah, that's right. And, absolutely.
Yeah. Then I was in wrong in wrong time because I lost all my fortune, on stock exchange, with the strongest company, in Europe at that time. I went from 94 euros per share to 3.4 euros per share.
Wow.
Good story. That's it,
That's a huge crash.
It was the biggest, crash, they say.
Just some of the names that were on your yacht. It was Sean Connery, Mick Jagger, Prince, David Beckham. So it was definitely the who's who. What I wanted to talk about now was your collaboration with Robert Kool, and they had their huge hit Celebration. Tell us how that all come about.
I was a huge fan of Kool and The Gang from, I would say, they number one, of their existence. At that time, as I told you, I had my first discotheque which I owned myself. And there was this big hit, Jungle Boogie.
Yes.
So I was playing this Jungle Boogie like crazy in my discotheque because I was also DJing, in my discotheque 1 hour every night I was DJing. And from that point on, I was really big fan of Kool and The Gang. I remember myself dancing on the rollers, in the woods, with the headphones of my Sony Walkman. And when it came out, this Ladies Night album with G.T. Taylor as singer, I went completely crazy. Then a little bit later, I was with my business career in London. And there was this Victory tour. They had this famous song, actually big hit also. Victory, Victory. It was their concert in Wembley Arena in London. At that time, I already had my Rolls Royce and I could afford, lounge there. So I asked my guy there who was providing me with best tickets for all the concerts to try to arrange, for me to meet guys, Kool and The Gang. Okay. It came like easy, and I met them backstage, and that was my first contact with Kool and The Gang. And then we stayed in touch. Years later, when I moved to Marbella, the first act to play in my club and on my stadium was obviously Kool and The Gang. That was the time when I was also playing with them. There are some videos maybe you saw, on YouTube or something where I am like playing with the Kool and The Gang, dancing with them and playing the keyboard. So it was a long way from my adoration for Kool and The Gang, Jungle Boogie song, until, me actually paying them to come, this was a special story, I brought them for one concert and then I paid off penalties for 7 following concerts so that they could stay 7 days in my club and playing every night. It was like a big jump from DJ who liked their record to the financier actually who liked their music, and paid them, for there are a lot of happenings with them, They like also to be part of my long leg competition. So they were becoming regularly for 3-4 concerts, only to measure the legs also, Everybody likes to measure the legs of these beautiful models.
Yeah.
We stayed friends until today. Actually, many of them from the original original lineup died, but Robert Paul Bell, is my great friend, he's still alive and touring with the young guys around the world.
That's great. That's great to hear. They're still out there touring. That's great to hear. You mentioned before about your daughter, Anna Ann. Tell me a little bit about her. She had a huge hit called Ride, I do believe. Now she's good.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she was incredibly. I say was because she's not musician. She was a real deal, I'd say. During my days in London, actually, I pulled some of my contacts there, and everybody was fascinated with her voice, look. Eventually, she ended, on the chart, I think 4 or 5 songs.
Yes.
At the same time, she was graduating during her music career. She graduated on Guildhall University Politics.
Mm.
She was in Conservative Party, and she was like one of the 3 main members of the party for Chelsea and Kensington Borough, where we were living.
Yeah, right.
So she was pushing both careers in the same time, which was pretty interesting, I even remember once, she took me to the parliament, and that was her music.
Right.
on PA system in the middle of the parliament.
All right.
Yeah, they liked her there, She was not member of parliament, but she was usually very often visiting there some of the bosses of the party, including Mr. Cameron, who eventually became, then leader of the party. She was pretty, I would say, often with John Major, and her protege was Mr.
Right.
Mr. Rifkin.
I did see some of her film clips, actually. She's an incredible singer.
Yeah, composer, singer, pianist, top model. Even Jean-Paul Gaultier created for her a few dresses, and few outfits. She really had a great career in front of her if she wanted. We even spent 6 months in New York where she was supposed to pursue her USA career because she was also in USA chart. There was kind of bidding, for her between Atlantic Records. There was, if I remember good, Mr. Greg Kalman was the chair. It was after Mr. Epstein was the owner of Atlantic Records. And then between Atlantic Records, RCA, there was David Novich, main A&R, and then Arista. There was Mr. Barakman, charge, Clive Davis owner. So I don't know how it happened, that she decided, She was actually in the middle of recording in Capitol Record Studio in LA for the album. And she had this album which was never released. It's an incredible album. Maybe today I will release it. Even today it will be great,
Yeah.
There were 14 songs on that album, which, what happened, she was in the middle of recording, and one night she's calling me and telling me I have 40 degrees Celsius temperature. I will collapse. She's calling me from her apartment. And then I call her agent there in Los Angeles and the others, they couldn't come. They were in different parts of the state, So I thought to jump in the car and straight to the hospital.
Yeah.
And she was driving with 40 degrees and with me on the phone, if she collapsed or something.
Yeah.
And she came, I'm listening to the doctor, and they are checking meningitis. So after this meningitis, she was very lucky to survive, It was a very heavy form of meningitis, and she never came back to me. it was like finished.
Oh.
50.
But I guess that's something that she could always fall back on if she decides to
No,
ever go back.
no, she really, at that stage, she already didn't like showbiz.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. She said, you know, if you are a superstar musician in England, it's completely different story than if you are pursuing your career in States.
Yeah.
You know, I have my theory, you know. You have still alive Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, Roger Daltrey from this first wave of pop rock groups in England. Roger Waters, I don't know, you know, I could now, you know, continue for Elton John, you know.
Wow.
And in the United States, you know, there is no Whitney Houston, there is no Michael Jackson, there is no Prince, there is no, you know, to continue Jimi Hendrix and the others. Somehow instead, they burn like instantly, or at least long before time. And in England, it looks that they know how to preserve their stars. And you know, nobody was writing about this. Maybe you can start this theme, you know, this idea of which I am now talking about. It's you know, something is there, you know, and she sensed it. She sensed, maybe God saved her, you know, by awarding her with meningitis. Because she told me, look, if I stay here 2 years more, I'll be not alive.
I couldn't leave without talking about your lovely wife, Jela. Tell us a little bit about how you've met and what you've done together musically.
Yeah. It was actually really signed from the heaven, you know. When my wife, with whom I spent almost 40 years together, 40, I don't know. After 3 daughters, you know, and life together, you know, when she decided that my rock and roll living style is too much for her, you know, she could do it much earlier. But okay, she decided, and I've been thrown. I don't have better word, you know, from my family nest, you know. Okay, that was my part of responsibility for this. What happened? A rock and roller, I couldn't keep, you know, I will not say what, under control and going around, you know, obviously with some beautiful ladies, always coming back, but, you know, like cynical, you know, what I'm saying now, coming back to home, sweet home, you know, and family. And I respected my wife, and really she was the queen, but I made many mistakes. You know, and she was probably tolerating this until one day she told me, now enough is enough, you know, finished. Then, a few months later, you know, instead of really, I would say, I was ready to end up my life. You know? Not because I was sad or thinking, you know, everything is lost. No. Eventually, you know, I had enough of everything.
Yes.
But I met this beautiful girl, cello player, you know, and little by little, you know, we clicked, you know, and she extended my life, actually. You know, it was through music first, and then through mutual, you know, understanding, and we slowly started to work together on building her career. She was just finishing her studies of violoncello, Belgrade University, and slowly making together the music, producing together, touring. I was there always for her, enjoying the music, then making together music, own music, releasing this, making animated series, you know, educational, like for children. Enjoying really to create together. Eventually, she made it like big time, like not only classical music but also in contemporary music. She formed her own 60 pieces symphony orchestra, Jela Bar Symphony Orchestra.
I can't wait to see that day. I want to be there in front of that 60-piece orchestra. Just sitting there and just...
all young and accomplished musicians, talented, good-looking, and full of energy. And this orchestra is really playing everything from Purple Haze to Jimi Hendrix. People could see this on YouTube if they want. Jela Cello, Purple Haze, how they play this stuff, or how they play some very complex, music, contemporary for symphony orchestra, cello and symphony orchestra, which would be, for example, soundtrack for any movie.
Yeah.
Any movie. It's a great thing, we are really enjoying, and she was playing also on, to mention a few things, playing through Rene Walter introduction on Oscar ceremony party,
Yes.
Working for charity which was endorsed by the James Cameron, one of the biggest film directors. Really, she had great success all around, and now we met you in China. I think there is great interest in China for her concerts, and I hope that during the end of this year and during next year especially, she'll have a lot of concerts in China.
Yeah, it's such a big market here, and I think her style of music definitely fits. Here in Shanghai, it's the jazz and the blues is very, very popular here. So, yeah, I think it's going to work very, very well. And you said that you're going to come back to China?
Yeah. Her producer, actually, agent, him, Rene, just yesterday, actually, he informed us that he has some arrangements for, I think, November and December for next year. So we'll be back, so probably, and then we'll meet.
Absolutely. I can't wait.
Enjoyed talking with you, also I enjoyed talking with you.
You've had an amazing career, Bob. It's still going to continue now with Jela, which is so promising. We've only just touched a part of your career. I could have talked about your book. I could have talked about your free kick master program that you have for sports people in Serbia. So
free kick master is continuation of my relation with football. Actually, it's World Championships in executing of free kicks. Very attractive competition.
Yes.
And I'm proud of, together with Rene, actually, we had this event in New York, no, actually in Houston. This record-breaking one was in Houston, Texas.
Right.
And through Fox Sports International, IMG, production and distribution, Messi, Ronaldinho, and all the biggest superstars were executing free kicks for audience of over 850 million people in 180 countries. Now we are trying to stage this in China, and this is such a spectacle, because in 1 hour and a half you see over 100 goals, very, very attractive goals, and very attractive saves of the goalkeeper. It's a goal. When you go to football match and you are watching and it's 0-0, you go home very unhappy. And when you are watching our competition, you go out, and you are vomiting from so many goals. It's like goals for whole life. Enough of goals for whole life. So this is great, actually, competition. I hope that next one will be in China. They are inviting us now to Saudi Arabia, actually, which is investing a lot in football these days.
They should, because they haven't been in the World Cup for a couple of years now. And when they do make the World Cup, oh my God, this place is going to rock. it's going to be really, really exciting to be here.
Maybe we can help them in promotion, actually in promotion for their bid. Because we will have all the biggest superstars in the same place in the same time. And what better chance to invite the world, to support China in their bid, if they are still interested in staging of World Championship in football.
That would be amazing. Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your time, and I do appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing you and Jela soon.
大家好, I'm Bala from Bala Simple Chinese School. If you are a beginner, intermediate, advanced, looking for HSK study, business Chinese, or simply want to improve your everyday communication, I'm the teacher for you. Come and join me for a free travel class at Bala Simple Chinese School.